Hello and welcome to Pro Trader Strategies Market Commentary for Tuesday, October the 8th. My name's Eric Wilkinson, and some of you may recognize me from mainstream media as the Wolfman. What I'm here to do is teach you how to implement option strategies and trade around that. Some people will teach you how to build a strategy, give you locations for those strategies, but won't give you the reasons why to implement them there. And the reason, and the fact of the matter is because they don't know how to truly implement an option strategy to increase your probability of success. And that's what I do in webinars and in these daily market commentaries. Anyway, please remember past performance of any trading system or methodology is not necessarily indicative of future results. All right, let's get it on with our daily market commentary for the economic data. Sorry for whatever I was saying there. Anyway, across the pond, we got Italian retail sales coming in at negative 0.6%, expected to be a negative 0.1%. So nothing really surprising there. The Italian region's not been doing very well. But moving back over here to the United States, we got the NFIB, which is the National Federation of Independent Businesses. It's a small business index. It gauges how these smaller businesses viewed the overall economy, and it came in at 101.8. That's a pretty good reading. That, for me, is saying that the small businessman is doing well and expects the economy to keep on with this, and they're very happy with that. So that is a good thing. The small businesses are the linchpin of our economy. Canada got housing starts. They beat them on the housing starts, 221,000. I don't usually talk about Canada, but both of these numbers came in pretty good, especially this building permits out of Canada came in at 6.1%. It was expected to be 2.3%. So I usually talk about building permits. You can pull as many permits as you want. It doesn't necessarily mean you're going to build. Well, Canada is actually showing that they're building on those permits, and a big jump like that, 4 percentage point jump in building permits being pulled, is a pretty solid sign that those guys are confident in building it in the near future. All right, moving back here in the United States, we got core PPI, which is producer price index, came in at negative 0.3%, expected to be a positive 0.2. Now remember, producer price index, those are prices that go into the inputs of the manufacturing sector. Well, normally speaking, we want to see inflation. We're not really seeing that there. So prices going down, I think that that's a good thing, especially right now if we want to have the consumer spend money. That means they won't be passing along higher prices to the consumer, right? At least we would expect. And then PPI came in at 0.3%, expected to be 0.1%. Sorry about that. Remember, the PPI, the core PPI excludes food and energy. So, everything coming in line with expectations there. And as I mentioned before, we also have tip optimism. The economic optimism number came in at 52.6. That's better than the expected 51.2. Again, expansion there. And then we have a couple of Fed governors speaking. We have Evans and Powell speaking later on today, and pretty much the rest of the week. We do have we have the minutes coming out, I believe, sometime this week as well. All right, on to the overall markets. We've got crude oil coming off a little bit. This is driving me nuts, you guys. We got this spike, and it seems like for several weeks now, we've been selling off, and I'm not seeing those prices go down at the pump. Are you guys? I mean, prices here, we've had at least, when we bumped up above, up into the 60s, we saw those prices spike above $3 here in the Midwest. I think the average was right around $2.80 or something like that. Well, we haven't seen the prices come off at the pump at all, and we've had about a $10 drop in crude oil, so that's kind of bugging me. I like to play filling up my gas tank based on my trade recommendations, and it's annoying me that I keep getting half tanks of gas because I think prices are going to go down. But it's only going to save me a couple dollars, but it's the thought behind it, right? It's the mantra. Anyway, we've got crude oil coming off per gallon or per barrel, but not per gallon at the pump. All right, gold still holding on to 1,500 by tooth and nail. It's really trying to grind it here. I expect it to stay above that 1,500. I don't really think we're going to see that gold really fall out of bed, especially the way that the markets are reacting today. We've got bonds up in positive territory, albeit slightly. pretty close to unchanged. But we're seeing the VIX spike up about a point and a half, point and a quarter, testing that 20 area almost. And then that's because we're seeing the Dow Jones off by about 150 points here. And well off the lows, though. Overnight, we were really seeing some bearishness. And as soon as we came into the day, opened up pretty neutral, but then kind of tanked off. A lot of things going on with China and everything else, really causing this market to see some turmoil. I believe it's more so that we are migrating back down to the points of control. As you can see there on the NASDAQ and the E-mini S&P is off 25, literally going right back to the points of control. That's what we've been talking about. Fill in some of those low volume areas, bouncing back and forth between these two Fibonacci's. I mean, there's just not a whole lot to see here. You can see overnight, market got short. Not a very strong attempt to get these guys flushed out, and we're just kind of holding a pattern here. So most of the news overnight talking about China maybe moving away from the negotiating table and everything else has caused a little bit of a wet blanket on the market. So I haven't added or taken anything off at this point. I am looking to get out of my GDXJ gold trade for a little bit better than 50% of my max profit. I sold those November, what were they? The November 34 puts, sold the Nov 34 puts in there for, I think it was about 64 cents. 65 cents. It's trading right around 37. So I've got in a 28 cent bid just in case we get a bit of a spike in there. But other than that, I'm not doing anything else as of right now. I've talked about this. I want to keep some of my margin free for these earnings that are going to be around the corner, because that's how we can take advantage of some quick trades, get in and out, and quit messing about. All right, that's about it. Sorry, not a whole lot to talk about here, but trying to play this GDXJ trade, getting that theta decay. This not really seeing the volatility come out like I'd like to, but still trying to play that theta decay. I've been directionally wrong with this trade pretty much, and it's still profitable nicely. So that's why we set them up the way we talk about in these webinars, you guys. Playing the probabilities, making sure those are in our favor. All right? So if you can't take that, take it easy.